This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust that today you will consider this like your vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review, and it will be helpful enabling others to find this podcast. Also, if you'd like to get on a 30-minute call with me, I can help you with leadership, goal setting, productivity, beating procrastination, whatever it may be. Just go to drronblake.com/call, drronblake/call, and you'll be able to fill out some information, get on my calendar, and I'll give you a call and see if we can work together, if there's any way that I can be of help to you. Today I want to talk about the seasons of life, especially as they relate to those of us in leadership, which is, as you know, pretty much all of us. And if you're not feeling that you're a leader anywhere, you are leading your own life. The seasons come and the seasons go. Depending on what part of the world you live in, many of us live in places where there are 4 distinct seasons. I happen to live in a part of the world where each season is very, very distinct. As a matter of fact, I'm hearing people in my part of the world ask the question right now, what do you like about the particular season that we're entering? Or even some will say it a different way, what is your favorite season? And then there have been books and articles and even seminars put together on the seasons of life, especially the seasons of life for leadership. So they're talking about the seasons of life professionally, personally, spiritually. I've seen the application made in lots of different ways. I think one of the reasons is the very word season is a word meaning change and flux. Now, if you're in the tropics where one day looks pretty much like the other, this might be hard for you to imagine, but having spent some time on trips in that part of the world, even there, though it may be much more nuanced than it is in the part of the world where I live, there are still dry and rainy seasons and windy and more calm seasons. So the seasons do come and go in every part of the world. But life is filled with change and it's filled with flux. And regardless of what you do, you can't change the fact that the seasons are coming and they're going. I've lived through a few seasons and you can't change them, but you can change yourself. Most of us have a favorite season and then a season that isn't our favorite. Let's just break down spring, summer, fall, and winter, and what that season might mean for particular areas in our life. Of course, spring is always associated with planting and spring flowers and new life. For Christians, Easter happens in the spring, not only celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ, but the promise of new life, especially after and coming out of a harsh winter. And so spring is sort of the planting season. Summer is the growing season, at least in the northern hemisphere. Fall is the time of harvest. It's when things are brought in from the fields. Winter can mean a lot of things, but it is a time for recharging. Certainly in the climate area where I live, you are not as able to get out and move around at times in the winter as one might be able to the other sorts of seasons. Let me just ask you this question in a general sort of way. What season are you in right now? Are you in kind of a planting or growing, or is it a season of harvest where you are? Or is it in fact winter? Let's go back to the spring for a moment. And you apply this wherever you want to, professionally, personally, in the area of your relationships. You can apply it anywhere. Spring should be a time of learning. It's a time of fresh starts and fresh beginnings. There is a phrase that I have heard all of my life. It's time for spring cleaning. all of the stuff, debris, dust that we've accumulated over the winter. Let's get things ready. Let's have a fresh, clean start. In my life, I kind of look back as a leader that spring was the time of my initial preparation. It's when I received the initial call. It's when I began to prepare myself for what I felt that God wanted me to do. It was a time of preparation. Now, it's not been the only time of preparation, but it was a time when the majority of my time was spent in preparation. And regardless of age or whether you're in school or any of those things, let's look at this in another way. There'll be some of you who are listening to this podcast and some of you who are watching the Facebook Live that it's sort of a springtime in your life regardless of your age. You're in the process of getting prepared. There are some people who are even getting prepared for the next phase of their life, the next job they're going to do, perhaps retirement or refirement or however they're going to do it. It's a time of planning. As important as planning is, and no one believes in it any more than I do, it is also not a season one can live in. I think whatever season you're in, you just need to beware of what season you're in and give yourself the grace to be there. If it's a springtime, you're preparing for something, that's fine. I remember after all of my preparation, I had gone to a 4-year liberal arts school and studied, graduated. I went immediately to a seminary and received a Master of Divinity degree. So I had spent 7.5 years academically, hopefully maturation-wise as well, preparing to do vocationally what I felt that I was called to do. And I remember coming in the Monday after my first Sunday, after my first week, and I had just spent 7.5 years preparing. And I had gone through my first Sunday, and I'm sitting in my little office in Corpus Christi, Texas, that is about the size of a broom closet. And I have given everything I know. I've said more than I knew the day before. This is pre-internet and pre-computer. I had a yellow pad, my books, my Bible, my pen. And I can remember the sensations of the smell, the feeling, the sights as I was gathered in that little room. And I picked up my pen and I'm getting ready to write on my yellow pad. And I can remember it as if it were yesterday. I said to myself, now what do I do? That's why it is absolutely essential to marry preparation and experience and hands-on. Though I had academically prepared, though I had a great foundation, I believe I had a great theological and biblical education, it's a little different when you get out to the street level and have to begin fulfilling all of that. So preparation is wonderful. You must be prepared. You hear me talk about it all the time. But don't just get stuck in preparation. We prepare in order to be able to do something. Let's talk about summer. Summer is a time of fulfillment. It's a time of growth. And in those early days of my leadership, I was growing and stretching. It was a time to try new things. It was a time to try different things. It was a time to try some new things. And summer is a favorite season of mine because I like warm weather and I like the sun. And so for summer, for your leadership can express and be representative of a time to grow. It's things are exciting, things are new. I was beginning to take my preparation and put it into practice in the lives of people, in the lives of what I'm doing. Let me once again go back to preparation. Preparation isn't a season. Preparation is a continuum. You need to always be preparing, but there are indeed seasons where we're preparing. And then there are those seasons of growth. Fall is a time of harvest. It's a time to tend to the things we've been doing. Again, each season reminds us that life is in flux and that life changes. I just read an article the other day about talking about the aging process as a season, and I hesitate to tell you where, according to where I am, what season of life that I'm in. But harvest is sort of the payoff of the spring planting and all that you did, and the growth and the tending in the summer. And winter, for many people, sort of symbolizes death and destruction, and shut your doors, turn on the fire, and don't go out. But winter is also a wonderful time to evaluate. The way our calendar falls is that it's right in the middle of all of that is when we turn over into a new year, so we can begin even before spring thinking about new things we want to do, new seasons we hope to attend to. The other thing is it's a time to appreciate all that has happened in your life. I'm reminded of what the writer of Ecclesiastes said in chapter 3, verse 1. There is a time and a season for everything. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to laugh, a time to cry, time to tear down, time to build up. Don't resent the season that you're in. You've been preparing for it all of your life. I think there are something about the seasons that you need to think about. First of all, you can't enter a new season when you're unwilling to leave the present season. I meet people all the time who are stuck in some past season of their life. Back when they were younger, back when things worked better, back when everything was going their way. Life requires a degree of being uncomfortable. All change makes us somewhat uncomfortable. But every season you and I face in life, in leadership, is an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to grow. There have been in my life seasons of pain, seasons of waiting. Perhaps the most difficult in the human experience is when you're in what you feel is a waiting period. And if that's what you are, just embrace the current season you're in. Now, let me remind you, you don't really have a whole lot of choices. You can't fight it. You can't go out in your front lawn right now, put up your hand and say, I do not want this next season. I do not want this season. I loved the last season. Bring it back. It does not work that way. It is interesting in the cycles of season, it will come back to us again. I think when you're waiting, in a waiting season, is a time, are we waiting because there is some change happening, and frankly we're not very comfortable with it, we're not willing to embrace it. When I moved to Greater Detroit years ago, I was complaining about the cold weather. It seemed like winter came in the fall and didn't leave till spring was about over. It snowed, it was cold, at times I felt it was miserable. A young person who's a very dear, very close, dear person to me today said to me, Pastor, if you're going to live here, you're going to have to embrace winter. Here's what I'd say to you today, my friend. If you are living where you are right now, in whatever season of change you are in, you're going to have to embrace it. It's all you have. Embrace it and take it as an opportunity to learn and to grow. And I promise you, you will learn things in this season you could have learned nowhere else and no way else. You will grow in ways you can't even imagine. Another thing to do when you're in a season of waiting is, why don't you start evaluating some things that didn't work? I have often discovered that there were things that I was counting on, that I was so hoping would happen, that I'd already set my heart on it, and it didn't work out. It wasn't to be. And at times when we want to know why something didn't work, we begin to point fingers and blame others. They're responsible. It's because I'm this, or because I'm that, or because I didn't do that, because I'm not like them. Sometimes things don't work because they just don't work. It wasn't meant to be. There could be another reason, a reason you may in fact never know, but there's a reason it didn't work. Why don't you, the worst thing you can do is to never have introspective moments of evaluating your own heart and what part I played to contribute to a particular situation and circumstance in my life. I think when I'm in a waiting season is a time to let go of negativity. Here's what I have noticed so much. People are so drowning in negativity that all they can do is criticize. All they can do is find fault with everyone else. They act as if they have no control over their present circumstance. God is ultimately in control, and you are in control of your attitude. You're in control of how hard you work. You are in control. Are you willing to make the necessary changes? And so I would just advise you as a leader, let go of the negativity in this time of season of waiting and just embrace the current season of your life. I noticed today that many of the trees in the part of the world where I live are losing their leaves. Yet I didn't see one of the trees worried about it. We worry so much about what we're going to lose and what others think and how will I make it and what will become of me and how am I going to get through this. Seasons come and seasons go. There is a purpose for every season. Embrace it. And the great thing that I learned about every season is everyone starts somewhere. I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said that every artist was first an amateur. No one starts a professional. No one starts out skilled or knowledgeable. We all have to start somewhere. I don't know what season of life you're in, but what I'm going to say to you right now is don't miss the opportunity. Let go of things that didn't work. Let go of negativity. Go ahead and embrace the change that is happening in your life. Make it a learning and growing opportunity. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust that today this has been like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a brief rating and written review? It would be very helpful. And hey, if you'd like to see if I can be of any help to you or we could work together, go to drronblake.com/call, drronblake/call, and you fill out the information there, and I'll be notified, and I will call you on my cell phone and see if there's anything that I can do to work with you or help you or to be a blessing. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying have a great and blessed day.